Hey, mama. So there's a lot that goes into creating offers for your business, right? Sometimes we can get fixated on the pricing and wanting to bring the most value to our clients that we don't take a breath. We don't take a minute to really consider what we realistically have the capacity to execute based on our current season of life. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to dive into things that one, we should really be considering when creating our offers. So, like a couple of questions we can ask ourselves and then what it actually means to create offers that fit our current season of life. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Hey, mama. Welcome to the Mompreneur podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Singletary, a wife, mama of two, and former virtual assistant turned podcast strategist and producer. This is the podcast for the mama who is burnt out trying to build her business on social media. You're tired of putting in so much time and energy marketing your business on social media only to hear crickets and barely get any engagement on your posts. You don't have time to waste as a busy mama, and you need an effective way to generate leads for your business. Well, mama, you're in the right place. On this podcast, I will be giving you the inside scoop on how to create a podcast that generates consistent leads for your business on autopilot, mixed in with some mompreneur hacks and tips for growing your business as a busy mama. So grab your coffee, your notebook and pen, put in those earbuds, and let's dive in. Okay, so before we get into today's episode, I want to share some super exciting news with you. So I'm sure you've noticed a shift in the content here on the podcast, and this is also reflected in my email content too. And so I've been talking more about, what it truly means to build a business that fits your current season of life as a mompreneur. And the reason why is that I am finally stepping into my calling as a life and business coach for mompreneurs. And I'm going to be dropping an official episode about this shift and the how and the why and just how I even moved into this direction and what all it means for Mama Turned Mompreneur. But I'm going to be dropping that in the new year. But I really wanted to share about it now because I'm already doing it. I've been working with a couple of clients as a life and business coach, and it has been nothing short of amazing. Like, it's been so good to finally just step into this. And it's funny because I've technically already been doing this, right? Some of my podcasting clients, we talk about more than just podcasting. I've supported them with mapping out their offers, also just navigating this life as a mom and a business owner because it's a lot. It can be overwhelming. And so supporting clients with that. And it was actually my clients who were kind of calling me out on it. It's like, you are coaching us, right? So I'm finally stepping into this and I'm super excited about this and it feels so good. And so I wanted to share too that I am opening up space for the new year for one-on-one coaching clients. And so this type of support is for the mama who is currently feeling overwhelmed and feels like she can't build the business of her dreams and be a present mama. And so when we work together, there are 5 core areas that we're going to focus on. So one is getting visible and creating impact outside of social media to grow your community with the right people. This has been huge for my clients because a lot of them have been burnt out on social media or just not able to keep up with the demands of it. And so we create a visibility strategy that fits their current season of life. The next area we will focus on is creating offers that fit your current season of life, which we'll be talking about today. And then creating systems and processes that are really going to allow your business to still run effectively, even when you aren't actively showing up, which is so important as a mama. And then we'll be getting into building those deeper connections with your community. And this is where you really, build those relationships with the people in your community so that you start seeing those conversions, right? You earn their trust and you become that go-to person for them. And then the last piece that we focus on is mindset, which is honestly the foundation of it all, right? Because if your mindset isn't right, all these other areas won't even matter. So that is what we focus on when we work together in the one-on-one coaching container. And so if that's something you're interested in, you can hop on the wait list. So that way you'll be the first to know when spots are available and you'll get access to some exclusive bonuses. So head on over to mompreneur.com/coaching to hop on the wait list. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to support you guys in this new way. Okay, so let's get into, creating offers that fit your current season of life. So, two questions you should ask yourself. One, what do you have the capacity for in this season of life? And then, what can you realistically commit to in this season of life? And so, I pose these two questions because sometimes we think we have a certain level of capacity, but we don't really look at, the realistic picture of our situation, right? So, for instance, for me, I solo parent Monday through Friday. My husband is gone from about 6 a.m. to sometimes as late as 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. So I may think I have a certain capacity, but realistically, looking at this season of life, I may not have that capacity I think I have. So for you, right now, you may feel like you can take on a lot, but life is going to happen. The unexpected is going to happen, especially with your kids. And so when you view your offers through this lens, your current capacity and what you realistically can commit to in this season of your life, you are in a sense going to be able to create a contingency plan for your offers. And so you're going to really look at how can you build an offer that allows for the flexibility you need as a mama. So I share some tips and strategies back in episode 100 where I talk about how I do it all. It was supposed to be sarcastic, but how I do it all as a mom of two. And then last week's episode 114, I talk about, transitioning to a mom of two. And I share some great tips and strategies for that one and things that maybe you're not a mom of two yet, but you can put in place now, kind of like planning for the future. So I highly recommend checking out those episodes. But getting into what it actually means to create offers that fit your current season of life. So you want to look at things like how often can you realistically show up and have the capacity to show up for your clients? And so this is looking at it like whether you are a service provider or a coach, because I apply this to both sides of my business. I still have my podcast production side of my business. I'm still producing different people's podcasts, but then I also am a life and business coach too. So looking at, can you realistically commit to doing weekly calls? So if you are running a group coaching program or, working with your one-on-one clients, do you need to show up on Zoom each week? Can you actually show up on Zoom each week? And so this was something I had to learn when it come to when I launched my Podcasting for Your Business Accelerator. It was a 6-month program. We just wrapped it up. And, we were meeting each week for 1 hour on Zoom. Now, when I first launched this program, that worked for me in the sense that my son was in school on the days that I was meeting with my accelerator ladies, and I just had my daughter home. And so I typically would put her down for a nap, probably about 45 minutes to an hour before I was scheduled to hop on a call with the ladies in the accelerator program. And that worked. But then back in August, we ended up having to pull my son out of school, and I had both kids home full time. And my son, he typically doesn't nap. unless like you go and you put them in a bear hug and get them down for a nap that way, which it proved to be challenging at times because I also had my daughter. I had to get her down for a nap too. So that wasn't something I anticipated, that was the unexpected. And so that did kind of interfere with how I showed up for, the ladies in the accelerator program the last couple months. Not to say I didn't show up and I did, bring value and everything. But for me personally, like I didn't like how I felt. Like it was hard because, my son, he would ask for a snack, ask for this, while I'm trying to do the call and everything. And I love the ladies in my accelerator program because they just show me so much grace during that time. But it wasn't how I wanted to show up. So just again, like thinking about that, like, is it something you can realistically commit to? But also, is it something that is needed? The other thing is like, how long do you want these calls to be if you're going to be doing calls with your clients? So you can really look at, structuring your calls in a way to ensure that, hey, if it's just an hour, it stays at an hour. So really looking at that. The other thing is can you do a mix of Voxer support and monthly calls? And this is something that I've done for my coaching business. So the current one-on-one coaching clients I have, we meet once a month via Zoom, and it's usually about an hour. And this is where we basically take a look at the previous month to see what was working, what their wins were, and then looking at what challenges they face. And so, one, we dive into those challenges and how to navigate that. And then we map out an action plan for the upcoming month. And so so we have that. And then they have Voxer support Monday through Friday during my business hours. That is very manageable for me. That is very manageable for my clients. And even when we have our monthly calls, how I have my calendar set up is that they choose a date and time, and it's usually in either the evening during the week or I have like some time slots on the weekends. And I set it up that way because my husband is home during these times. He can take the kids and I can focus solely on my clients during these monthly calls. But also, my clients who are in a similar season of life as me, their spouses are home or they have family support. So that way, when we meet, they are able to focus and we are able to really dive into what we need to dive into during that call. So it allows for that flexibility that we need. And we're able to have that set aside time where we can really focus in, on what we need to focus on. But then they also have that Voxer support. So during the weeks, I check in with them weekly to see what's going on, if they need additional support. And they also know they can reach out to me via Voxer. And if there's, a challenge that they're facing, we can work through that right then and there. And this is something that also is done in my podcast production side of my business. So with my monthly management clients, they have Voxer access to me Monday through Friday during my business hours, but then we also do monthly check-ins. They're called end of the month check-ins. So we reflect on, how things went. We dive into their analytics. We talk about, content for the upcoming month. If there's a certain offer they want to focus on promoting, we dive into all of that. But again, those calls are scheduled for when I know my husband will be home and he can take the kids. And so that way I can show up on Zoom and be fully focused, fully present for my clients. But I had to set it up that way. I had to look at my current season of life. I had to look at, my husband's availability. And so you have the freedom to do that too. There are so many ways to support your clients without sacrificing value and doing it in a way that isn't going to require more than you're able to actually give. And I say this because I know, like, I've been there where it's like I felt like I needed to do more to make sure that my clients felt like they were getting their money's worth. And know that your knowledge and your expertise is worth so much. It is so valuable that that alone makes you worth the investment. So don't feel like you need to offer more and do more so that your clients are feeling like they're getting their money's worth. And I'm not saying, not provide a valuable service, not provide a valuable experience. That's not what I'm saying. It's just sometimes that we feel, especially for us overachievers, we feel the need to do more, in a sense, over deliver when realistically it's not what we have the capacity to do. So this is like part of building out your offers. And again, looking at your current season of life and being realistic, like what can you actually commit to? So just figuring out, what that looks like for you. So what it looks like for me and what it looks like for you, it may be two different things, especially depending on the amount of support you have with your kids, the ages of your kids and different things like that. So like really getting clear on what does it look like for you? Another thing is too is like considering how many clients you actually have the capacity to serve. Now, this is important in figuring out because it's going to impact your pricing, right? You have, monthly income goals and everything. And so you have to look at it from the perspective of, okay, these are my monthly income goals. How many clients do I need to serve in order to hit those goals? So they come into play together. But again, looking at your capacity and seeing, like, especially as you're building out your offer and everything that you're including in these offers, thinking about, okay, how many clients can I realistically serve in this offer? So this is all part of building out your offer that fits your current season of life. So I'm not going to dive a whole bunch into pricing right now. We'll do another episode on that, but I do have an episode on like things to consider when you are pricing your services and your offers. I can't remember what episode it is. It's like one of my earlier ones, but I will make sure to link it in the show notes. So to give you guys an example, one of the mamas that I support, she works a 9 to 5. And she works this 9 to 5 from home. She also has an infant at home, and then she is running her business. So she has a lot on her plate in and of itself. And so we had one of our calls, and she shared with me that, she's currently working with 2 one-on-one clients, but she has a couple of people who are on her wait list that also want to work with her. And she felt like she just did not have the capacity to take on more one-on-one clients. And she had this internal struggle because one of her goals is to be able to do her business full time. But she knows part of that is being able to get her income up, which means she needs to start serving more clients. And so the first thing we did was like, I talked to her about the current clients she was serving and really digging into why she felt it was so much with those current clients, because she was currently serving 2 clients. And so we took a look at like how she was currently serving them. And so part of what it was that they were getting unlimited Voxer support, but also they were getting weekly calls with her. And those calls that should have been just an hour, they were turning into like 2-hour long calls. And so we really dug into that. And so I supported her with mapping out a plan for one, looking at setting parameters on the Voxer support. So making sure that, it was for set hours when she know that she had the availability. And then the other thing is that we dove into the one-on-one calls and looking at like what was going on, that the calls that should have been an hour were, going 2 hours long. And the biggest thing was that there wasn't a set structure or set expectations for those calls. So we looked at the things that, she was diving into with her clients during these weekly calls. And so we looked at things that, one, could be moved over to Voxer, and then 2, what she realistically needed to focus on those calls, and whether or not she needed to do weekly calls. And so we really mapped that out to make it more manageable for her. And then we looked at, okay, the people who are on your wait list, how can you get them into your world right now? And so she has a course, and then she wants to be able to turn it into a group program. And so it's like, okay, is that something you can realistically commit to right now? Can you get them started with a course? And then as your capacity increases, you start the group coaching program. So we really dove into like building that out for her and everything. But again, it was looking at her current season of life and just making things more manageable for her, really getting some structure in place and helping her to remember that this is your business. You get to set it up in a way that meets your needs, especially when you're building a life first business. You can't pour everything into this business and then to your clients, and then you have nothing left for your family, nothing left for yourself. And so we really dove into that and really mapped it out so that way she's not feeling overwhelmed. She's not feeling stressed. She's still serving her clients at a high level, but doing it in a way that fits her season of life. So that's kind of like some of the things to really consider is like, again, I know, especially like if we are ambitious, we're overachievers, and we just want to provide an excellent service. And so sometimes we feel the need to do more, or we don't set those boundaries with our clients like we need to. But at the end of the day, it's just going to drain us and it's going to impact how we're showing up elsewhere, whether that is in our business or with our family, or even just how we're caring for ourselves. And so looking at your current season of life and making sure that you are setting up your business in a way that fits your current season of life. So to kind of wrap this all up, when it comes to creating offers that fit your current season of life, you want to be realistic with what your current capacity is and getting clear on what that looks like to support your clients based on your current season of life. And just that being realistic, that is the key part right there. And kind of like expecting the unexpected. So like how I mentioned earlier, creating that contingency plan in a sense for your business, because life is going to happen. So using myself as an example, in October, I never expected my daughter to have a seizure. That wasn't something that crossed my mind. That wasn't something I would have realistically planned for. But because I had certain things in place and I made sure that I was creating a life first business, it didn't impact my business. My business did not fall apart as I was going through that difficult situation. Things still kept going. My business was still fully functioning, even though I was navigating that. You cannot anticipate everything that is going to happen. Life is going to life. That is just how it is. So you want to make sure that as you're building your business, it takes into consideration that it is a life first business, that you have your priorities in place. You know that your family is a top priority. You are a top priority. All of that comes before this business. And so just setting your business up that way, setting your offers up that way. And that is going to make things so much easier on you. It's going to take a lot of that stress off and different things like that. So later on, like in another episode, we will dive into more about like pricing and really creating your offer suite. I have thoughts on that, like about, diversifying your offers and everything. And we'll get into more about that in future episodes because that all comes into play here too. But I think this is a really great starting point, especially, we're getting ready to go into the new year and a lot of people are mapping out their offers and stuff. And so you just want to make sure that as you're building out your offers, you're making sure that you're creating offers that fit your current season of life. So that is it for this episode. Again, if you are looking for more one-on-one support with building a business that fits your current season of life, head on over to mompreneur.com/coaching to get on the wait list, and you'll be the first to know when the wait list opens. All right, Mama, I'll catch you in the next episode. Mama, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang with me. Whether you're a podcaster ready to create podcast content that attracts her dream clients, or a mama that's ready to stop the social media burnout and simplify her marketing through podcasting, I can support you. Head on over to mompreneur.com/connect to submit an interest form so we can chat about how I can best support you. All right, mama, I will talk to you again soon.